Welcome to Wisdom Synergy, where knowledge meets collective power.
Yeah, long before the very first stories were ever written down, before the first laws were even spoken aloud, human beings were already being shaped by forces that we, well, rarely even notice. And I'm not talking about the weather or the stars, but something woven directly into the fabric of perception itself. Welcome to this explainer on the Age of Influence. Today we're going to explore a quietly unsettling idea together, the reality that you and I do not experience the world directly. What we actually experience are interpretations. Okay, let's dive into this. The real hidden knowledge is not forbidden physics. It is the architecture of meaning. This right here is the absolute core of everything we're about to uncover. We are constantly surrounded by these unseen forces, from the everyday words we use, right down to the digital feeds we scroll through, that just quietly construct the world exactly as we know it. Which naturally brings us to a pretty fascinating question. How exactly do forces we rarely even notice construct the reality we see? We're not going to just look at dry facts and figures today. No. Instead, we're going to look at the actual lens through which you view those facts. We are going to examine the frame behind the frame. So the crucial point here is understanding what exactly we mean when we talk about the architecture of meaning. It's essentially the invisible frames, the stories, the symbols, and yes, the algorithms through which reality is interpreted and then assembled right inside the human mind. It's not just some academic dictionary term. It's literally the invisible fabric of human perception. Section 1. The Ancient Architecture. Language, Symbols, and Patterns. To really understand how our reality is built, we kind of have to start with the earliest tools humanity ever used, and that begins with our absolute oldest technology, way older than the wheel or agriculture, which is language. You see, language isn't just a mirror reflecting reality back at us, it's a lens shaping it, and this brilliantly illustrates that point. Think about it. When we use the word enemy, we instantly see danger, right? But if we use the word neighbor, we see connection. The word threat builds walls in our minds, while opportunity throws open doors to possibility. You change the word, and you literally change the world it describes. And this brings us to a really profound inversion. We do not speak language. Language speaks us. It tells us what to notice, what to completely ignore, what to fear, and what to desire. It is the very first quiet force that constructs our reality from the ground up. But language isn't our only ancient tool. Let's look at symbols as a kind of subconscious technology. It's fascinating because the human brain actually processes an image about 60,000 times faster than text. So ancient shapes like spirals, crosses, or even today's modern corporate logos, they aren't magic. They're incredibly powerful cognitive shortcuts. They completely bypass logic, diving straight into our subconscious. They compress massive, complex belief systems into a single glance, instantly telling us who belongs and what is sacred. And that brings us to a recurring motif in human history. We do not see the world as it is. We see the world as a pattern. Humanity has literally always been obsessed with finding patterns, like seeing the spiral of a shell mirroring the exact spiral of a galaxy. We do this because patterns provide the cognitive scaffolding we desperately need to make sense of all the chaos. Once a pattern is recognized, well, it becomes a permanent lens for interpreting everything that follows. Let's move to the next slide and see how this builds, watching how this unbroken chain of influence evolves across time, starting way back with cave paintings in prehistory to printed books in the 1400s, television screens in the 1950s, smartphones in the 2000s, all the way to present-day AI-generated content. It's this continuous, unbroken chain of human innovation. And here is the really profound takeaway from that whole evolution. The technology changed, sure, but the objective remained exactly the same: to shape interpretation. Today, these mediums operate at the speed of light, reaching billions of people instantly. But the ultimate goal? It's never wavered. It has always been to shape how you and I interpret reality. Section 2. The Manufactured Self. Identity in the Digital Age. We're going to shift the narrative inward now. We've looked at how we perceive the external world, but now we really need to examine how the modern digital environment perceives and ultimately constructs us. Think about this. The modern human is the most observed human in history. We are constantly watched by millions of tiny observers, recommendation engines, and algorithms that mathematically profile us based on our past behavior. They build these echo chambers that narrow our worldview. They organize us into digital tribes, and they literally trade our attention as a form of currency. The self isn't just something we discover anymore, it's manufactured and then performed as a highly curated feed. Identity has become a feedback loop. I want to pause on this for a second because it is absolutely vital to understand. The algorithm doesn't actually know who you are. It only knows who you have been, and it just feeds that right back to you. We perform ourselves for these digital systems, and they simply reflect our own patterns back to us over and over again until that reflection basically becomes our reality. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the shift in how we seek truth. The ancient question was simply, what is real? But today, the modern question has shifted to, what is real to me? Truth is no longer a shared destination. It's kind of become this shifting negotiation within our own personalized, highly curated realities. So the crucial point is this. If identity is a feedback loop, who is watching the feed? Take a moment to really think about that. It's a nice rhythmic pause in our journey today, just grounding us before we move into our final understanding of how we can actually navigate all of this. Section 3. The Human Observer. Reclaiming Perception. Because beneath all the noise, beneath the algorithms and the ancient symbols, there is an ultimate protagonist in this explainer, and honestly in history itself, and that is the human mind. There is a constant across history. It's the child looking up at the stars, the monk reading a manuscript, the scientist peering through a microscope, the explorer studying a map, the person scrolling a phone. The technology changes, but the observer remains. You are the anchor in the storm of competing stories. Whether you're standing in an ancient temple or just swiping through a modern digital feed, the pure act of observing, of searching for meaning, is the one absolute constant. Which reveals our greatest power. Perception is not something done to us. It is something done by us. Reality is an active assembly. It's an ongoing negotiation that you and I participate in every single day. We are not powerless in this age of influence. We are the interpreters, the participants, and ultimately the creators. Which leaves us with this final, truly vital question. Will your future be shaped by the systems that influence you, or by your awareness of the ones who see through them? Once you start to see the frames shaping your world, the language, the symbols, the algorithms, you instantly have the power to look past them. The architecture of meaning is everywhere, for sure, but the greatest power of all is simply a mind that learns to see.